something very interesting and something very niche. And I will share the screen and I will just first start with the agenda first. Okay, so just give me a minute. All right. So let me know if you're able to see my screen. Can somebody confirm if they are able
Yes,
to
it is
see?
there.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. So what I will do, I will run this in PowerPoint mode, a full mode, so that all of you can see this properly. And then if you have any questions, then let me know. And at the end, I will take question. The way I have designed is that first I'm going to talk about different aspects of AI security. I will also show you a demo of a AI security tool. After the demo, you're going to ask me, will give the last half an hour for a Q&A and ask me all the questions that you have and I will answer all of them. So that's how our 2 hour workshop will go. So a lot of content to cover. So I will jump into that. I will give my introduction at the end. So what I will do, I will skip the first slide, second slide. So before that, I want to tell you that AI security is basically about two things: security in general and AI security in particular. It's about anticipating the risks and you design it for resilience. Now, when I say anticipating the risks, what does it mean? It means you can only anticipate the possible risks that can hit your system and you take action to ensure that these don't happen again. But there is no way where you can actually anticipate all the possibilities, all the risks on day one. So as you start using your products, as your customers start using the products, then you will realize that what you actually designed in the beginning is not enough and you'll have to actually do a lot of rework and reiterate. So it is always about anticipating the risks and then designing for resilience, because nobody in this world can design a software which is 100% security. It's not possible, because as you keep upgrading the security, the hackers are also 2 steps ahead. So you'll have to, this is a constant cat and mouse and the constant catch ups that is going to happen. So therefore, I have actually named this webinar as anticipating the risks and designing for resilience. What does resilience mean? Resilience means when a breach happens or when an attack happens, how quickly you can come back to on your toes and how quickly your systems operate back to normalcy. So that is resilience. So resilience is not about what are the breaches that you can stop. That is basically anticipating the risk. Resilience is 1 step ahead. After it occurs, how quickly you can establish back the sanity, how quickly you can bring up the systems, how quickly your customers can access the data or the application. So with that, I will get into the actual seminar. Now I will talk about myself later. So what is the agenda for today? The agenda for today is this. I will first talk about the comprehensive security posture in this world. What are the different ways security has to be taken care of? What are the different dimensions of security? I will talk about it. The next, I'm going to talk about AI security versus security.ai. What is the difference between AI.security versus security.ai? Then I will talk about DevSecOps, MLSecOps, and LLMSecOps. I'll explain what that is. Then the most important thing all of you should know is about attack surface areas and attack vectors. This is a very important security engineering and design requirement that, be it AI security or be it IT security in general, as security practitioners, all of us need to be aware that what are the attack surface areas and what are the attack vectors. After that, I'm going to talk about threat modeling. What is threat modeling and how do you actually do threat modeling? Why threat modeling is very important in the current days and times. Very important. Then I will show you a demo of actual threat modeling in action. We'll use an open source tool I will show you how actually threat modeling is done using an AI tool. Okay. And then of course, I will take the question and answers after that. So keep all your questions with you. And once we are done with the seminar, and the last half an hour, I'll dedicate it for all the questions. So you can ask all the questions that you have. So with that, with the agenda in place, I will go one by one into each one. So let's start with the comprehensive security posture. What does comprehensive security posture mean? Comprehensive security posture means in any organization, any software organization, there are five aspects which are in play. The IT security, the ICS OT security. What is ICS OT? Industrial control systems and operational technology. IT security is your standard IT security, which we do for data and applications. ICS is for industrial control systems. For example, you have nuclear power plants, you have electricity grids, you have water treatment plants, and you have major critical infrastructure, airports, railway, metros, etc. So that comes under ICS OT security. And then you have AI security. Now, AI security, had we done this this webinar 2 months or 3 months back, I would not have added agentic security and model context protocol security. These are the very new developments that has happened in the AI space. So 3 months or 4 months before, or even 2 months before, had we had done this webinar, you would not be actually, I would not be actually talking about agentic AI security and model context protocol security, because that is something very, very niche. So what you are going to get in this webinar is something which is very niche, very updated, and something which is very current. Okay. So any organization in this world, they'll fall under one of these categories, or they will be falling in a combination of these categories. Remember, systems are very complex in this world. You may have a company which has IT security as well as industrial control system security. There could be a company which is doing IT security and AI security. There could be organizations which can doing AI security and agentic AI security. So you can either have a comprehensive security posture individually, or you can have a posture which a combination or intersection of few of these things. So therefore, as a security practitioner or somebody who wants to understand security in its entirety, you need to know what category your organization or your customer fall into. So do they fall into IT security? Do they fall into ICS/OT? Do they fall into AI security? Do they fall into agentic AI security, or do they fall into model context protocol security? Now, agentic AI security and model context protocol are new. That is going to take some time for people to start using it in production. But already people are doing a lot of POCs on this. So even if you do POC now, 6 months or 1 year down the line, people need to understand how to manage agentic AI security, and people need to understand how to manage model context protocol security. And as I told you, an organization can be a combination of all this. For example, you take TCS, Wipro, or Infosys. They may be doing IT security and AI security now. You take Aramco in Saudi Arabia. That is a big oil and gas major. They may be doing ICS/OT, not maybe. They are doing ICS/OT. Along with that, they'll be doing IT security. There could be some could be very niche organization which are doing all the three. So the complexity of the real world systems are very, very complicated and complex. So therefore, as security practitioners, a comprehensive security posture is very important. So now the question is, do all of them have a same security protocol? Do all of them have a same security procedures? Do all of them have the same security methods? Do all of them have the same security SOPs, standard operating procedures? The answer is no. Each one has a different challenge. And for each challenge, you need to have your security procedures, policies, protocols in place. Okay, so if it's a combination, then it is going to be far more complicated. You will have to have a combination of these as part of the protocol. So as organizations become more and more complex, as organization becomes more and more integrated with all this, you as a security practitioner have to be on top of your game, and you need to understand all these aspects of security. But for our particular webinar, which we are talking about, we are concentrating on the third one, that is the AI security. But remember, I wanted to put this slide for you to get a 360-degree view of what are the different securities, aspects, architectures, engineering, or the companies they fall under this domain. And you need to have the requisite skills at each level. Okay, with that, we'll go into the third, that is the AI security. So that is the comprehensive security posture. And we are going to concentrate now from this into the AI security aspects. To understand AI security, you need to understand two terms very clearly. What is AI security, AI dot security, and what is security dot AI? What is the difference between them? Generally, what is happening in the industry or even in the media, or even people who do a lot of these YouTube videos they do and then they upload, they write a lot. Even big magazines or reputed magazines also, they are getting it wrong. AI.security and security.ai are two different animals, and all of us needs to understand what is the difference between them. So I'll explain you what is the difference now. What does AI.security mean? Simply put, AI.security is securing an AI system. Okay, so what does it mean? Its purpose is to protect AI models from being attacked, from being misused, or being manipulated. AI.security is about AI systems. So what are the focus areas? The integrity of the data models, defending against adversarial attacks and data poisoning. Data privacy is very important. You need to ensure that the training data which your models are being used, the data doesn't get leaked. You need to have a proper access control, identity and access management. Only authorized users should be allowed to connect to the AI system. Along with that, authorized users and every users have a roles and responsibilities. Permissions have to be granted based on the roles and responsibilities. So you should give access to your AI system depending on the role and responsibility, not more, not less. Very, very important. Then you need to have a supply chain security for AI. So there could be third-party tools which you are plugging in into your AI systems. Those third-party tools may have infections, ransomware, or virus. So you'll have to be careful about the supply chain because AI systems cannot work by itself in isolation. The real world AI systems or the real AI systems which are gone into production, they will always be using some third party plugins or software which is plugged into the AI system. So ransomware or attacks can happen from those plugins. And finally, the agents that are working on the AI system, you need to ensure that they don't become rogue agents and they don't become autonomous and rogue and run all by itself. So AI.security is about securing AI systems. And these are the focus areas that you need to concentrate on, which means as a AI security professional, you need to understand what is a model. You need to understand what is the data. You need to understand what is the algorithm. You need to understand what is the application. And you need to understand what is model integrity, data privacy. You need to understand and configure the access controls, ensure that the third party don't affect the systems. All these are part of securing the AI system. So that is AI.security. This is very specific to AI systems. Now, what is the opposite of this? The opposite of this is security.ai. This is where people get confused. Security.ai means the current technologies and tools which you have in your system. Let us say you have a ERP system, you have a CRM system, you have some financial systems, you have manufacturing systems. How do you integrate AI into the current system so that it doesn't get breached? So take that difference, understand the difference very clearly. Security.ai is using the current systems, putting AI into the current systems for security. So you have a, let us say you have a product, that product has to be used. And if that product has to be used, then you need to have a lot of security. Now, people are trying to breach the system using a AI system. So you should have a AI security for that. So what are the focus areas? Malware spotting, phishing, intrusions, behavioral deviations, or SOAR automation, identifying suspicious transactions, surveillance, everything. So from threat detection to anomaly detection to automation to fraud detection and surveillance. In other words, whatever is your legacy systems or whatever is your current systems, you are trying to increase the security by putting a AI system in front of that. I'll give you an example. Two examples I'll give you. This is a real world example. Recently in Uttar Pradesh, there was a Kumbh Mela. All of you must have known about that. In the Kumbh Mela, to manage the crowd and ensuring that everything runs properly, because crores of people are coming there to having a bath, an AI-based system was installed there. Completely, it was run from a control room by an AI-based systems. So what is that? That is an example of a legacy system which is already there. You are using a AI on top of that to help you run it properly. So that is security.ai. Similarly, the Andhra Pradesh government now has introduced something called as WhatsApp governance. What is WhatsApp governance? They have started in a one district as a pilot, and that district name is Tenali. In Tenali, they have started a pilot. What it means is 300 services of the government can be done only at WhatsApp. You don't have to go anywhere. You want a birth certificate, you want a death certificate, you have gas, any other services that you want. You sit at your home at the convenience of your sofa, you open your WhatsApp, you go to the menu and you say, I want a death certificate or a birth certificate. It will do an Aadhaar verification. It will automatically generate the birth certificate on your WhatsApp and give it to you as a PDF. This is already started as a pilot project in one district. So these two examples of the Kumbh Mela in Uttar Pradesh and the WhatsApp governance in Andhra Pradesh, so 300 facilities or 300 utilities in the Tenali district can be just done at WhatsApp. So there is no corruption, there is no meeting somebody, paying money, etc. So this is a classic example of AI being used in the current systems, and that is security.ai. I'll give you another example. If you're living in Bangalore like me, you must have seen the signals in some areas like Jayanagar or JP Nagar or wherever it is. You can see something called as VAC in the signal. The signal systems are getting upgraded for AI systems. So the signals will not take a red and green based on timing. 3 minutes this side, 3 minutes that side. No, it is based on the density of the traffic, on which direction it is coming, and then it will release 3 minutes from the south, 4 minutes from the east, 2 minutes from the west, etc. The idea is using AI, you are not doing a standard 2 minutes because from if you're going from one place to another in the mornings, one side traffic may be more, the other side traffic may be less. So why do you want to keep everything as 3 minutes or 1 minute or 2 minutes? So these are three examples of a traffic system in Bengaluru or in Andhra Pradesh, the Tenali district, you have the AI systems, and also in Uttar Pradesh recently they have done a for the entire Kumbh Mela was totally done by a AI based systems, and that is security.ai. So using AI for your current legacy systems and enhancing its effectiveness and enhancing its productivity or enhancing its efficiency is security.ai. So as a security consultant or somebody who's aspiring to be a security consultant, you have to know the difference between these two, AIs.security and security.ai. Security.ai is the knowledge of AI systems need not be that great. It can be just enough. But to run AI.security, you need to be at your top because this is very deep. This is about handling the AI system itself. How do you make your AI system secure? So we are going to talk about AI.security, not security.ai, because that is anyway using AI to the legacy system. So remember, if somebody is working on security among your friends or family members, or if somebody is talking about giving a workshop or giving a training on security, you have to be very clear to know that whether that person is talking about using AI to the current systems as AI security or is actually talking about AI security, which is applicable on the models, on the algorithms, on the training data, etc. So that is the real AI.security. Okay. So with that, we will go into the AI.security aspect and not security.ai aspect. To do that, you look at this slide. This is my very favorite slide, which I give it in all my workshops. In the last, somebody is talking. Can somebody go on mute, please? Yeah, thank you. So this is a slide which I always share in any of the workshops. I have done workshops or boot camps more than 25 till now to top corporate companies, and I always share this as a first. So this is something all of you need to understand. Till 2020 and 21, you had traditional software. What does traditional software means? DevSecOps, development, security, and operations. And what does traditional software have? Only two things: data plus applications. So your ERP systems, your CRM systems, or your Oracle financials or some manufacturing system, etc. They are two things: data plus applications. So they're used to use DevSecOps, development, security, and operations. But data science, which is nothing but predictive AI, is called as ML machine learning, security, operations. Here, if you see, I have put four things. The top two from the top, data plus applications, plus you have model, plus you have algorithm. So if you are running a data science project, or if you're taking care of a customer which is doing data science, then you are actually doing ML SecOps. And if you are a security consultant working on in a data science company or a company which is developing data science software, what you're essentially doing is that you are using ML SecOps. That is nothing but data plus applications plus model plus algorithm. You have to handle all the four. After 2022, 21, 22, when ChatGPT first came into the world, and after that, thousands of transformer types have come into the world. Now there is a need for generative AI, which is LLM SecOps, large language model, security and operations. Now you see here, the first one was data plus applications. The second one was data plus applications plus model plus algorithm. In generative AI, one thing is getting added, that is synthetic data. All the other are same. If you see how the progression has happened from traditional software to generative AI. In traditional, you have data plus applications. In predictive, that is machine learning, you had data plus applications plus model plus algorithm. In generative AI, that is LLM SecOps, you have data, you have applications, you have model, and you have algorithms. The additional thing that is there is synthetic data. So if you are a security consultant and if you want to work in the Gen AI space, you need to manage security for five things. If you are a security consultant, if you are working in a machine learning space for data science, you have to manage four things. If you have been into security, that is IT security before 2021-22, which is also there now also. It's not that IT security has disappeared. If you are taking care of IT systems, then you need to take care of two things, data plus applications. Now, now agentic security and model context have come recently. See it below. In the agentic security, four things are there: data, applications, model, algorithm from the top, plus you have the agent's intent and multi-agent interaction. So as you go from traditional software to MCP, multi-context protocol, you see how the complexity of is increasing. You see how many new things are getting added at every level. So that means if you want to be a AI security consultant, or if you want to make a career in AI security, you need to be at third, fourth, or fifth. What is third? Generative AI, that is LLM SecOps, or you should be agentic AI, or you should be model context protocol security, or the best is to have all the three because all the three are related. So look at the progression from data plus applications in traditional software. We have reached the stage now. We have to manage data, contextual prompts, tooling interfaces, applications, model, and algorithm. So understand how deep and how wide your skills are needed. If you don't have that deep and that wide skills, you will not be successful in the area of AI.security. You may do a little bit of AI in the field of security.ai. Some tools are there, you are using those tools. Using AI tools for the current system, I told you, is security.ai. But the real AI.security or AI security is this, what I have shown you on the slide. So from traditional software to predictive software to generative AI software to agentic software, sorry, agentic AI to model context protocol. At every stage, the complexity and the depth and the width is increasing, and therefore the complexity increases. So therefore, you need to be really skilled to master all this. Are you going to master it in one day? No, definitely not. But it is very important that you know what should be there as part of your workshop, what you should actually learn. Be careful, people who talk about this AI.security, using AI for security, that is not actually AI security. I keep repeating that so that all of you understand what I'm saying, because that is basically using your AI for the current tools which are run. That is no big deal. Okay, with that, having explained you what is AI.security and what is DevSecOps, MLSecOps, LLMSecOps, agentic AI and model context protocol, then I am going to talk about security mental model. What is this? It's a very important that all of you should understand the security mental model. What is a mental model? Mental model is nothing but the design related issues of security. Please understand, using a tool is secondary. What is important is that how the security, AI security systems are actually designed. Please remember, tools will come and go. Today there is a tool A, tomorrow there is tool B, day after tomorrow, today there is chat GPT, tomorrow something else will come. Day after tomorrow something. Already there are many such tools are there. So tools will come and go. But if you want to be really successful in the field of AI security, tools are important, but only to that extent. What is more important is you should understand the design aspects of security, that is AI security. So to understand design aspects, you need to understand the security mental model for AI security. Let us say you want to actually, you drive a car, you are learning car driving. It doesn't matter which car you use for learning the driving. Once you become skillful on learning how to drive a car, Driving car A, driving a Maruti, driving a Mercedes or driving any other car is no big deal because the tools are different. You may be driving Maruti, tomorrow you'll be driving a Mercedes, day after tomorrow you may be driving a Alfa Romeo or something like that. The tools are different, but your core skill is a driving skill. Of course, driving a Mercedes and driving a Maruti, the dashboards are different. The way it is some tool, the way it is aligned in your cars are different. But that learning is very quick because fundamentally you know how cars are driven and you know car driving. So there are two things remember, skill and meta skill. All of you should know that if you want to learn AI security, skills are not important. I'm not saying it's totally unimportant. What is important is a meta skill. Now, what is a meta skill? Meta skill is something which can be transferable from one tool to another. So I gave an example of a car driving. If you know how to drive a car, it doesn't matter which car you drive later. It will not take much time for you to graduate from Maruti to Hyundai to Skoda or Skoda to Mercedes. There will be little bit of a learning pain, but the fundamentals, your design aspects, you are very clear because you fundamentally know how to drive a car. But imagine if you are only comfortable with Mercedes, you cannot drive. That's because your car driving is, you have not learned the meta skill properly. Then you will say, okay, this has to be like this. This is not working like this. I expected this to be like this. So in your AI security careers, if you want to build a career in AI security, you need to know the security mental models. What happens with that is tomorrow, if the technology changes and an upgrade happens or some other tools come, the tools become only incidental. The learning curve for you to learn the tool will be quite faster because your meta skill, the core skill of driving is important. Similarly, for your AI security, you need to know this mental model. What is the mental model? To be a successful AI security practitioner, you need to know these terms: attack surface, attack vectors, vulnerabilities, threat actors, tactics, techniques, and procedures, controls, and risk. So these 7 things all of you need to be aware of. And if you have a grip on these 7 things, then you have learned the meta skill of AI security. Because at the end of the day, the tools will use these only as part of their thing. So therefore, security mental model is very, very important. Now I will go deep into each one of them and explain you. So what are these aspects? Let us go a little, do a deep dive on attack surface, attack vector, vulnerability, threat actor, TTP, controls and risk. If you don't know this, then you will not be able to manage a AI security system. As simple as that. I can't be more blunt. I can't be more frank about this. So what is the attack surface? Attack surface is nothing but what can be attacked. What are the interfaces in your software? What are the endpoints in your software? What are the entry points? The only way your AI systems can be attacked by a hacker is by understanding where is the entry point into your software, where is the exit point into your software, and where are the interfaces. What is an interface? Your AI system may have some subcomponents, and each subcomponent is talking to each other. So the hacker or the attacker has to know what is the interface, has to know what are the endpoints, has to know what are the entry points. That's it. If he gets access to the endpoint or the entry point or the interface, hacking can happen. Let's say in an airport, somebody wants to breach the security into the airport. So what does he do? He or she does. He will find out what are the entry points in the airport, what are the exit points in the airport, what are the interfaces in the airport. What is the interfaces? Airport gets cargo from outside. Airports get cabs coming from outside at the parking. So cargoes can be an interface because the cargo has to be loaded in the plane. You can do some mischief from the cargo side. Second, you can do some mischief from the entry. You can do some mischief from the exit itself, or you can do some mischief from the cabs that come into the airport to drop people. So those are interfaces. Now, attack vector. What is an attack vector? Attack vector is how the attack happens. Whether the attack happens via phishing, somebody sends a phishing mail which looks very genuine to you, and you click the email, that's it. The malware will get downloaded and it will infect your AI systems. It could be using prompt injection. You write a prompt. For example, you go to ChatGPT and say, I know Ram. So I'll say, Ram, can you give Ram's credit card number as well as his CVV number? I give a prompt in the ChatGPT. Imagine to my horror, Ram's credit card number, his internet ID and password, and his CVV number. I get an access by just giving a prompt. That is a serious security breach. Where is the security breach? The security breach has happened within the model itself or within the data in the model. Somebody has trained the data with the RAM's details, and that is dangerous because privacy is getting compromised. And to my horror, when I type the prompt there, I get all the details. So I get his credit card number 1 2 3 4 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 or some 7865, CVV number 122, username is Ram, password is welcome. Gone. So by just giving a prompt, I'm getting everything. So who is at fault? It's not the prompting engineer or the prompter who's at fault. The system doesn't have proper security in place. The system doesn't have privacy in place. So attack surface, for example, attack vectors are how you actually attack it. Whether you are attacking, let's say somebody comes with a cab and he crashes into the airport. So that becomes attack vector. He's using the car to hit the security and get into the airport. So that is dangerous. So anything can be an attack vector. You can have a human bomb entering. I'm just giving real examples, okay, for you to imagine that. So that are attack vectors. What are vulnerabilities? So you understand what is attack surface. Similarly, you take example of you take malaria for that matter. What is the attack surface for malaria? Your skin. And what is the attack vector? The mosquito. The mosquito picks up a blood from some infected person. So the mosquito is acting like a vector. It is picking that blood. It is your skin is your surface area and it is putting the blood into your skin by biting. So attackers or breachers are going to use two things, attack surfaces and attack vectors. They will study your attack surfaces of your system. They will study the attack vectors. And then they will design ransomware or they'll design a malware and then they will try to penetrate into the system. So your job, if you are a smart security consultant, if you are a smart AI security consultant, I will go back to the previous slide. What you are supposed to do is this. You have to manage the data security. You have to manage the synthetic data security. You have to manage the application security. You have to manage the model security and you have to manage the algorithm security. I am reading the LLM SecOps. So these data, synthetic data, applications, model and algorithm become the attack surface areas. So now you look at model context protocol, you can understand how complex it is because you have to manage all these. Each one can be attack surface. Each one can be used as an attack target. Each one can be used as a vector within that. So between these, there will be a connection, there will be interface it can attack. So as a security consultant, you need to understand what are the attack surface areas and what are the attack vectors. So if you look at this slide again, there are 6 attack surface areas for agentic AI. There are 5 attack surface areas for generative AI. There are 4 attack surface areas for predictive AI. Of course, the attack vectors are also there between them. There are two attack vectors for DevSecOps, and there are six for agentic AI, and there are six for MCP. So now imagine if your organization is configuring a AI system plus agentic AI plus MCP, then imagine how much of good you should be as a security consultant to manage all this. So your knowledge of all these becomes very, very critical. Not only that, you need to safeguard the attack surface areas. You need to safeguard the attack vectors. You need to safeguard the intercomponent communication between these, between the data, between the synthetic data, and the applications, the model and algorithm. I will give you a real example of this synthetic data. You will be surprised and shocked that this has happened. Let me give you, this is a typical Wednesday afternoon in Hong Kong. Last year it happened. I don't want to take the name of the company. That is not immaterial. That's immaterial for us. So it's a normal Wednesday in a company in Hong Kong. Early morning, everybody is busy going to work. The CFO of the company is also getting ready to go to work. CFO is Chief Financial Officer. Suddenly, he gets a message on WhatsApp from his Chief Executive Officer. He says, "Are you?" WhatsApp message says, "Are you planning to come to office?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Okay. Don't come to office immediately. If you are at home, please connect to the Zoom call. I have something urgent to talk to you." So then the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer, is wondering, okay, what happened? Something urgent. The CEO has called me. So he shares the Zoom call link. The CFO joins. All this has happened in WhatsApp, by the way. Now the CFO is in a hurry to go to office. He's in a hurry getting prepared for the office that morning in a typical Wednesday morning. He's not bothered from where the message has come or what that message is it a right message or not. But it did look like a CFO only, his CEO. I said, okay, fine. He joins the Zoom call. In the Zoom call, the CEO is there. He's on the video. This guy joins, the CFO joins the Zoom call, and the CEO says, "Thanks for joining, man. It's good that you joined immediately. Before you reach the office, I want you to complete this." He said, "Sir, what happened?" "No, no, we are signing a new customer. It is very urgent, and the deal is almost getting signed. So before you come to office, we have to transfer $25 million to him, to the customer, and then we have those agreements signed, and then we'll have this big contract." So the CFO is talking to the CEO on the Zoom call. He says, "Okay," and the CEO shares the all the details and all that, and he said, "Okay, fine. This is what is the customer. This is what is his account. These are all the details. Before you start to office, please transfer $25 million in this account, and then you reach office, and then we'll talk rest." So the CFO is happy because they are getting a very big customer because they are depositing that security deposit for some customer. So if 25 million is a security deposit, you can imagine how big that customer is. The CFO asked, "Which customer is it?" He said, "No, I will not tell on the Zoom call. Let us meet in office and then I'll tell the rest." So they say hi, they say bye to each other. So he logs off from the Zoom call. He goes to his system. He transfers $25 million. He takes his car out and then he reaches his office. The moment he reaches his office, already the office is in fire because the CFO has approved $25 million to some account. Nobody else knows to which account it got transferred. The CEO is furious. They said, "Why the hell you transferred? To whom did you transfer?" The CFO says, "You only were in the Zoom call on the video and you said that this amount has to be transferred." At the horror at the end, you came to know that that Zoom call was a deep fake. The CEO was a deep fake. The conversation was also deep fake. So that means the hackers who have developed the system, they have captured the CEO's images. They have trained his images and the mannerisms. They have captured the CEO's voice call by cloning. And when you join the call, you feel that somebody really, the person is there on the other side, because the conversation, the mannerisms, everything is in sync. And this has happened. Now, if you think this is a concocted story, it is not. It has really happened last year. Now, this is the horror of generative AI security. Now, if you don't have, you imagine $25 million of a company is gone because somebody had used a Zoom, cloned the CEO, his image, his audio, his video, everything, animation, everything. You'll feel that the other person in the call is the actual human being. The voice was cloned perfectly with proper, everyone has a style of talking, right? So it was cloned perfectly. The CFO did not even get a single minute of doubt. And in the background, when the CEO was talking, the background has his office, the office background, which everybody sees every day when you meet. Same background is there. Every image has been created. Every animation graphics has been created. Every audio video has been cloned, and $25 million is gone. The Hong Kong police is still trying to figure out what to do with that. You can imagine the plight of the police. This is a deep fake, and it has gone somewhere in the deep web. Some cryptocurrency, somebody, actors who are working in the hackers who are in the deep web or the dark web, they have done that. And that account, it's got the money. Nobody even knows. It is not even in the surface web. It is in the deep web. This is the horror. This is real. Now, this is the real thing that has happened. So imagine generative AI security becomes very, very critical because deep fakes are happening across the world. You never know. Your image may be used. You put your images in social media. You never know what people are going to do with that image. You and me may not be really the targets, but there are some big shots, let us say Ambani or somebody like that, or their children, or some military officials or their family members, or some top police officials or their family members. If they put their photo in social media, you don't know what is going to happen. Who's using that synthetic data, creating deep fakes and creating havoc? There have been cases where photos have been superimposed and porn videos are getting created. It's a very, very serious problem. So as a AI security consultant, you not only have to handle all the security, you need to ensure that the deep fakes are also handled, which is a very, very, very challenging thing, right? It is not easy to find out what is fake and what is good. So you require multiple level of checks. So with that, what that company has done, I don't know how some companies are operating now. Going forward, I think all official meetings that happen in Zoom or that happen in, say, Teams meeting or anything, there'll be an MFA. So you can only join when you enter the MFA token. So Zoom has already started implementing that. I don't know how many companies are actually using that, because all these top decisions that are happening should not happening on Zoom calls or Teams call for that matter, because you don't even know whether the person on the other side is a real or fake. And these are the things that are happening. So this is the area which all of you need to concentrate for AI security, a very niche area where you need to really have checks and balances in place, and you should be really paranoid about security. If you are responsible for a security, AI security for an organization, or if you are a leader running an AI security program in organization, you can imagine what is the kind of a people that are required, and what is you as a leader, what is the kind of a skills you need to have. You got to be very, very careful. Again, I'm saying it may not happen with you and me, but it could happen with some high network individuals. Somebody who's running businesses in crores, millions of dollars, there could be a deep fake. So these are the things that are happening. So this is something which you need to remember. So attack vectors, attack surface areas, I explained you. Next is vulnerability. What is vulnerability? Vulnerability is your design problem. There is a problem in the design itself, and therefore there is a chance of a security breach. I don't know if all of you know that. The Mumbai airport, the old Mumbai airport, the wall of the runway, on the other side, there was slum. The airport, I don't know whether the airport was built with clearing the slum area. I'm talking about 60s or 70s when that airport was built, the older airport in Mumbai, or the airport was built and the slum came next to that. I don't know. Most probably the slum was there, it was cleared and the airport had come. So if we are seeing the pictures of the old airport of Mumbai, the older one, not the new one, the wall of the runway is just separated. Just the wall of the runway is the other side. It's all slum area. So anybody could jump into that one. So what is that? That is a vulnerability at design itself. The software is made in such a way that there are vulnerabilities in the design itself. So you have to take care of those. Nowadays, airports are built very far from the place. Now, Karnataka government is also debating where the airport should come. Even Tamil Nadu government is also thinking whether they should have an airport in Hosur. So they will have to look at area where the design problems are not there. You cannot be in an area where there is a chance. So vulnerability is a system itself having a design problem. So that also has to be taken care. Threat actors. There are threat actors are of many types. Have you heard of this word ransomware as a service? The way you have software as a service, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, you also have something called as ransomware as a service. What is ransomware as a service? In the deep web, there are hackers who run a service itself. You can go and tell them, I want a ransomware. You have to pay them money. They will give you the ransomware and you can go and infect it. So you don't have to build the ransomware. You go to the dark web, there are companies who do this ransomware as a service. They also call it as crime as a service. So there are people who develop ransomware and give it to you for a price. Of course, you are not paying in rupees and dollars because those financials will get tracked. They are paying it in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. So you will not even know in whose account that money is going, how that is. Cryptocurrency is all in the dark and deep web. So you will not even know where which account is that and all. So these are the things that are happening. So threat actors. Now, I'll give you an example, a real example that has happened. In Australia, there was a town. In that town, there was a cyber attack on the sewerage system. Some hackers had attacked the sewerage system of that town. You know what happened? The entire sewerage started leaking in the town. Can you believe it? In towns like in cities like India, where the population is so much, can you imagine the mess it is going to create? Suddenly, on the roads, on the apartments, everywhere the sewerage is flowing continuously. Liters and liters of sewage is flowing on the road. You can imagine the plight. Same thing happened in Australia. Because the population is less, they could control it very. Somebody attacked the sewerage system with a ransomware. And they said, if you don't pay me the ransom, this will keep continuing. The leakage will keep continuing. So then the water sewage board in that particular town, they had to pay the ransom. Can you believe it? I'll give you another example. In the east coast of US, there is a company called as Colonial Pipeline. Colonial Pipeline on the east coast of US. It supplies diesel and oil. It's a petrol pump station and also oil and diesel it supplies for the entire east coast. There was a cyber attack that happened on the oil and gas pipeline in the East Coast, Colonial Pipeline. And the entire East Coast traffic came to a halt. Nothing was moving. Neither the trucks were moving, neither the vehicles were moving. The entire roads were jammed. I heard, now I don't know how much of this is true. They asked for 6 million ransomware. The government gave them 2 million ransomware and somehow they got rid of that. So what I am telling, these are real incidents that have happened. These are not some stories in some movies. These are real incidents that have happened. So that is the what is going to happen if you don't take security seriously for your AI security. It can create a lot of problems. It can create even life threatening also. Imagine somebody hacks a metro. of a city, let's say Chennai or Bangalore or Delhi or Hyderabad or anything. And you imagine what happens if the metros are suddenly they change lane and they came crashing together. And by the way, if you think this is an imagination, it happened in France. When the Olympics was happening in France, just one day before the Olympics started, there was a cyber attack on the French railway. And these all the, luckily it was not a collusion, but all the trains stop wherever that is. It all the, imagine railway, Indian railways, all the trains stop wherever they are. It will be chaos. So these are the things that are happening. So therefore, you should know who are the threat actors. You should know the tactics, techniques, and procedures. What is tactics, techniques, and procedures? What are the tactics that the, the hackers are using? What are the techniques that they are using, and what are the procedures? If you don't know the TTP, you cannot take action against that. So you as a security consultant, you need to know what are the tactics of your opponent, in this case the hackers, what are the techniques and what are the procedures that you are going to follow. Very, very important. And then the controls, what controls you want to see, and then the risk. What are risk? There are three types of risks in this world. Sorry, there are three types of ways risks are handled in this world. How are they handled? Risk acceptance, risk mitigation, and risk transference. There are only three ways you can handle risks: risk acceptance, risk mitigation, and risk transference. I'll tell you what is the difference between these three. Risk acceptance is you take a risk and you accept it. There is nothing much you can do. For example, you are flying from Bangalore to Chennai, or you are traveling on Shatabdi from Bangalore to Chennai. What is the risk you are accepting? The risk is very clear. Anything could happen to the flight, or anything to happen to the train, or if I am taking a cab and reaching the airport, anything to happen can happen to my cab. Now, this is, you can't live like that, saying that, okay, if I go, what happens? Some risks you have to accept in life. And you assume that these risks do not happen. Every day we are handling risk, right? Every moment of life, you are in a lift, you don't know what is going to happen. But you accept that risk, you don't even think about it. From the risk, from the lift, you are taking your car, you are driving on a highway. What is going to happen? You don't know. But are you going to stop driving on the highway? Are you going to stop doing your work? Are you going to stop using the lift? No. So risk acceptance is the first level. So similarly, if you're into AI security, you have to accept some risks. What is risk mitigation? Risk mitigation is you have to take some steps so that it doesn't happen. So in case you are flying from Bangalore to Chennai, what is the risk mitigation? You are assuming the airport and the flight handling, they are checking the airplane properly. They are doing all the checks so that you fly smoothly. So you have seen in the airports, right? All your flights are getting checked. So that is risk mitigation. Some things you cannot just leave it as it is. You can't accept that risk. Flight has to fly means all the components are working properly. Everything has to be checked. So you are trusting somebody, the airport authority of India or the flight, like Air India or whatever it is. They are going to do a regular checks. That is risk mitigation. And what is risk transference? Risk transference is very simple. You can't accept the risk. Sorry, you accept the risk. You can't mitigate the risk. You move it to somebody else. It's like taking the health insurance or it's taking the accident insurance. What is the use of accident insurance? You're traveling on flight, even if you do a Tatkal booking on IRCTC, there is an option whether you want to pay the insurance. What is the advantage of that? If something happens to you, at least your family will be taken care of. They'll get the insurance money. So some other companies taking, will that happen? You don't know. But you are taking that risk acceptance plus risk mitigation. Sorry, risk transference. Some person or some insurance company is taking care of the risks. So in AI security also, you have to take care of risk acceptance. You have to some part of risk mitigation and some part of risk transference. So as a security consultant, you should know what risks can be accepted, what risks can be transferred, and what risks can be mitigated. As simple as that. And you'll have to prepare a document and keep it. So this is what it is. I told you: attack surface, attack vector, vulnerabilities, threat actors, tactics, techniques and procedures, controls, and risk. These are the things, mental models that you need to handle as part of your comprehensive AI security posture. And if you handle all this, the probability of an incident happening is very less. Again, I told you in the first slide itself, you cannot eliminate all the risks. You can only either manage, mitigate, transfer. If you do these three properly, there is a chance that that breach is not going to happen on your system. And that is your responsibility as a security consultant. Now, let us look at the attack surface areas and attack vectors for IT security. See, these are the attack vectors: phishing and social engineering, software supply chain attacks, injecting code into that, unpatched vulnerabilities, and misconfigured CI/CD pipelines, etc. What are the attack surface areas? APIs and web interfaces, source code repositories, cloud storage, third-party libraries. All these are part of your attack surface areas. Okay. Now, let us see the attack surface areas and attack vectors of ML security. See here: data poisoning. Your machine learning data can be poisoned. Your model can be inverse. Somebody can extract the model data. Somebody can put adversarial examples. I told you about adversarial examples, writing a prompt and trying to extract the passwords and stuff like that. And models can be theft. Somebody can take your machine learning model, which is trained on large data, that can be taken. Similarly, what are the attack surface area? The training data itself can be a surface area. The deployed AI ML models can be the surface area. The feature engineering, the features which are being defined in your model, they can be the surface area. The model registry or the CI/CD integration, all those can be your surface area, or the attack surface areas. What are the attack surface areas and attack vectors for GenAI? Prompt injection, I told you, giving the model instructions. Training data leakage, model jailbreaking. Somebody tries to jailbreak into the model and take all the data. Synthetic data abuse. I told you a very good example of that, Hong Kong. So you're inserting poison data, you're creating synthetic data, and your model data is gone for a toss. Somebody has taken control over your data. Somebody has taken control over the model. Somebody has taken control over the algorithm. That's it. Everything is gone. So these are the attack vectors and the attack surface areas. Similarly, for AI agents, agents are nothing but independent, tools or independent systems that run on your models. So there could be a context window, tools plugin problem, retrieval, RAG related data poisoning. The input from users can be exploited via prompts. LLMs are integrated with external tools like a calculator. In your browsers, you actually install some plugins. You have to be very, very careful that plugins may be official, unofficial, or infected. You don't know. So you'll have to ensure that. So there are many ways you can attack your this one. Similarly, for MCP, Model Context Protocol. What is Model Context Protocol? It is like trying to connect to multiple LLMs at the same time. So you are not using with one LLM like ChatGPT. You want to extract data from multiple LLMs and work. So these LLMs have to be connected via protocol. So that is nothing but your model context protocol. So even for that, you have top attack vectors: prompt injection, tool chain injection, multi-agent interface. How do you handle these agents? Are the handles agents working autonomously, or are they really listening to you? All these are part of your top attack vectors. What are the top attack surface areas? The agent, what is the memory? You can infect the memory. Inter-agent communication channels becomes a problem. Autonomous planning loops, tools execution. You're using some agents, you're using some tools, you're using APIs also. Using APIs, you're trying to infect that system. So all these are part of your surface areas. And what could be the for MCP, what could be the surface APIs? The middleware could be a surface area. The tools which you have integrated with your MCP are the surface areas. Plugin devices, external services, function calls, anything, anything your system starts interacting with the outside world becomes a potential security breach. So for that, you have to do something called as threat modeling. It's a very important practice. I did recently for KPMG, I did a workshop, and where there I ran a threat modeling workshop for them. So in the threat modeling, you had to do manage all this. See, if you see on the screen, attack surface, risk idea, whatever I have told you is nothing but all from threat modeling only. Incident planning and response, improve system design, cost efficient security, regulatory and compliance, support for testing, validation, communication across the teams, prioritization of security efforts, proactive risk. Whatever I have talked in the last 15-20 minutes is nothing but threat modeling. You're doing all this which you see on the screen, and all that I have explained you in the last 15-20 minutes is nothing but a sum total of threat modeling by identifying the attack vectors, attack surface areas, vulnerabilities, and all the other things that you need to do as part of your mental model for security. If you do all this, whatever is you're seeing on the screen, it means that you have ensured maximum security for your AI systems. Otherwise, you are not doing a good job and your security is getting badly compromised. This is nothing but threat modeling. So see here, there are some different methods to do threat modeling. You see here, STRIDE framework. STRIDE stands for spoofing, tampering, repudiation, information disclosure, elevation of privileges. This is one framework which you can use for threat modeling. So for DevSecOps, traditional software, people generally use this particular framework called STRIDE. Similarly, for predictive AI, for machine learning, you can use all this. How training, data poisoning, model exfiltration problems, inference problems, adversarial examples like giving prompts which is trying to extract data from your model. All these are part of your predictive AI. Similarly, for generative AI, data poisoning, I told you, model theft, adversarial attacks, prompt injection, all this can be done. So you have to do a very good threat modeling so that you can cover all this. That is the whole idea. For agents, you can have a goal manipulation, game manipulation. It goes into a continuous loop. The agents is doing the same thing again and again 100 times. And swarm interference, number of agents are coming together. It's like drones. Number of agents are coming together and then they are attacking. Similarly, threat modeling for MCP, you have to see API, using API to abuse the system. You have to inject context and then you have to do context leaks. All this you're trying to infect the data, poison the data and create problems. So you as a security consultant, you should be very good in threat modeling. And if you have to be good in threat modeling, you have to be good in the mental model, the 5, 6 things which I told you. As simple as that. So this is known as your comprehensive security posture. So what is the type of domain, whether it is healthcare, finance, or manufacturing? What is your maturity levels of your software in your organization? That you need to think. Think about the attack surface areas and the attack vectors, how the hackers can attack your system. You need to use all this as part of your threat modeling. Unless you do this properly, if the breach is happening, then your threat modeling has not captured everything. Of course, some breaches will happen. Again, I told you, right? You can't, if somebody tells you that I will teach you AI security and you will be 100%, nothing will happen, then he's selling snake oil to you because that is not the truth. The truth is you increase the probability of security by being smart, by being proactive, and by being all these things, doing all these things. So therefore, you reduce the probability to 1% and 2%. That's good enough because the remaining one, COVID came and hit the world. Did we know that COVID is going to hit us? Nobody in the world was prepared for that. So there are some threats which you cannot even anticipate. There are many number of threats which you can anticipate. So your job as a security consultant, if you are a smart security consultant, you do the threat modeling well, you do the mental models well, you capture all the information, and you are ensuring that your systems are safe. That's what you can do. Now, I will stop sharing the screen and I will show you a demo of a threat modeling tool, which we are going to see now. So give me a minute. I'll just show you the demo just to give you an idea how the threat modeling is done. So tell me whether you are able to see my screen, and then can somebody tell me they are able to see my screen?
Yes, sir, we can able to see.
Okay, okay, wonderful. So you can see there is something called a Stride GPT. Can you see here? Stride GPT is a tool that is used to do threat modeling. So I clicked on this. It's a freeware tool. So I have gone into this tool now, just opening that tool. Just to give you an idea how threat modeling can be done for AI system. Now, see here on the left side, there are some models given here. So I will select, let us say Google. Google API is free. So I will select Google. Okay. Now I need a Google API key. If I have to connect to any model, I need an API key. So I selected Google API. I'll click on this and say enter your Google API key. It will create a key. So any API, any to connect to any models, you need your API key. So I will go here and the API keys, get API key. So let us see, it will allow me to create one API key. Or maybe I can use this. Yeah, okay, I'll say copy. I copy the API key. I go back to Stride GPT. I put the password here, that API key. Now, so what I have done now, I have gone to Stride GPT. I picked up the model on the left here. I gave the Google API key. I go here. You can see threat model here, attack tree, mitigation, dreads, and test cases. This attack tree, mitigation, dreads are types of threat model. Now I'll go to threat model. I'll just give an application here. I have, I'm just writing a prompt. You see, I have a database. I have a middleware and applications. I'm just giving something. And I say generate threat model. I'm going very slow so all of you understand. I went to Stride GPT. It's a freeware. I selected the Google model API because if you want to connect to Open API, you need a paid key. So I just used a Google mod. I said, then I give an application which I want to be modeled, threat modeled. I say I have a database, middleware, application, generate threat model. So see here, it is analyzing something. And you can see here it is running. Can you see here it has generated a threat model? So it is saying for a database, for middleware, and for an application, typically, what could be the threats that can happen? See here, it generated the threat model. Spoofing, an attacker spoofs the identity. What is the impact? Tampering, an attacker intercepts and modifies the data. Data integrity compromise. Repudiation, a user denies certain action and there is no sufficient audit trail. So what is this list which it has given? It is giving all possible ways a threat can affect your database, your middleware, and an application. So if the customer has a database, the customer has a middleware, and the customer has an application, this is the threat model it is generating. How does it generate this one? In our times, when I was in IBM Kendall before, I'm talking about 15 years back, threat modeling was done on paper. We used to do it on paper and then we used to keep that. After that, we had tools. But now with the model here, you can select any number of models you want. If you have the key, you can use it. Can you see? Open API is there. Anthropic is there. Azure is there. Google is there. Mistral, Grok, everything is there. So I selected Gemini because Gemini is a free API. We can use that. Google, sorry, Google Gemini is the free API. So it generated, and also see, it also gave the suggestions. What should you do? So for this case, I have a database, I have middleware, I have application. For this scenario or for this architecture, it is giving me this one. Very nicely, what could be the threat model, what is the scenario, and what is the potential impact. And also, I can do attack tree. I select that and say generate attack tree. It is generating another type of threat model known as attack tree. See here, it gives this particular document and it will create a diagram for you. You can take this diagram or you can take this and put it in some drawing tool. It will create a chart like this. Can you see the chart here? So like that. Of course, this is a small, this one, you can use this. What you can do is you can take this, put this one and put it in draw.aio, any of the tool, it will generate this bigger font. So this is a threat model using a similar mitigations. What are suggest mitigations? I click, it is now creating what could be the mitigations I can do for this scenario. See, it has created a threat type. It has created what could be the scenario. What is the suggested mitigation also? An attacker spoofs the identity of a legitimate user to gain unauthorized access. Suggested mitigation implements strong multi-factor authentication. See, it is giving you all that. See here. Tampering. An attacker intercepts and modifies the data transmitted. It will, what is the mitigation plan for that? Implement transport layer security, secure socket layer. It is giving detailed information. So threat modeling can be used with AI-based tools like Stride. Using all these models, you can generate the threats. Don't you think this is easier? Of course. Remember one thing, you can use these AI tools for security and threat modeling, but end of the day, remember this, human in the loop is very, very important. Whatever your AI system does or whatever your AI system generates is only 80% of the job. Don't depend on this AI system totally. You will have to check each one of them and see if something is missing or something needs to be updated. Remember, no AI system in the world is perfect. But why are we using generative AI? 80% of the jobs, see, can you see how nicely the table, everything is created? 80% of your job is done. Otherwise, in my case, when I was in the 15 years back, stuff like that, when I'm talking 20 years back when started in security. So that time, all these had to be done on boards or maybe charts and then scan those documents, or afterwards we had tools, but initially you had to really do on the board. Of course, systems were not that complex, but still threat modeling was a manual exercise. So we had to be really on top of our game. You cannot be like 50% security consultant. You have to be really on top of the game. You have to be really smart, really good, really current, really updated. But now with AI systems like Stride GPT, I'm giving an example. 80% of the stuff is done, but you still have to do the remaining 20% because whatever it is giving is doing 80% of the job. 20% may be missing, or some of the systems could be hallucinating, or there could be some errors. So HILT, that is known as human in the loop, is very, very important. Now you see here, you can even generate threat. This is another type of threat modeling. So generate for the same thing, a database, middleware, and application. I'm generating a threat assessment, risk assessment. See, it is generating. I talked about the three risks, right? See here. It says, please, no threats found, please generate the threat model. So you'll have to give it here and you can generate it. Similarly, you can generate test cases. Forget about threat modeling. You can generate the test sample cases. The tool will itself generate some cases. See here, unauthorized access. You can take this code and you can test that. You can see the scenario. Given an attacker gains, when the attacker modifies. So these are all the things. It is giving you cases for you to check. How nice, isn't it? So for our case, I gave a simple database middleware. I want to make this little complicated now. I have three databases, four applications with load balancer, and I have CDN, VPN. I'm just making it a little complicated. VPN, and say four applications loaded by middleware, and say API firewall. Let us see what happens. I'm making it a very complex architecture. Generally, the architectures are very complex. Let us see what happens. Now you see it is generating for this combination. See here, spoofing, tampering, information disclosure, and it is giving, see, very nicely what a, please provide more specifics of the VPN configuration. Details on the type of configuration of the load balancer. So you may want to give, I'm just giving an example. So you want to give something like VPN, some Nord VPN or something with say 20 Mbps, something like that. You can give all the specification. The more the specifications you give, the more it will generate the threat model and more detail. And you can also make it here, if you see in the right, you can also give whether it's in a web application, mobile, for mobile you want to do, for desktop you want to do, for cloud, if it's IoT, you can select IoT. What type of application is that? Also, you can choose whether it is internet facing, whether the data is top secret, you can choose here. Whether it is confidential data, secret data, restricted data, classified, top secret, is the application internet facing, yes or no? Sometimes many application may not be internet. What is the authentication option? Whether, so all that you can select and you can generate the threat model. And it is giving say details of the configuration of the VPN, how it is integrated. So it's asking all the details. The more details you give here, more you describe your application architecture, the more detail your threat model will be generated. And the more detail, the suggestions will also be automatically generated. So this is the power of a AI based tool for doing threat modeling for AI security systems. Now, this is a freeware. Generally in the market, there are a lot of companies who now offer complete threat modeling as a service, call it TMEAS, threat modeling as a service. So there you will have a lot of different types of options, different type of threat modeling, and different types of scenarios you get there. This is just I wanted to show you for you to understand very clearly as to how to generate different types of threats. Test cases also it will generate. For this, you want to do some test cases, it will generate. So all this is coming from this model. The model is learned. See, spoofing request on a CDN server, spoofing for an API request, tampering, compromised middleware and injection malicious code, API firewall. Because I had given all this, it is giving you all this information. Malicious user action, admin changes to databases, information disclosure, API firewall bypass. So all these are generated for you. See, these are the test cases you can actually try out on your system and see if any of these are not properly configured or if any of these are misconfigured. This is how you actually do threat modeling using a AI tool. And for AI security, you have to be very, very complex. Your architecture has to be, I'm just giving you an example here. If you have a complex architecture, you have to write everything here. Explain the architecture. The big prompt can be written here. Whatever is your, and you can select here whichever types of application is that. And then you can select the authentication types. You can select whether it is a top secret data. So privacy, I told you about privacy, right? All you need to select here. And then it will generate an excellent threat model. See, it's using this model, Gemini 2.0. You can even change the model. For this Google, there are many models which are available. Say Gemini 1.5, you can select it. So maybe every model will, let us say now, I have two databases. Let's say I've selected a different model. It may give a different, little more detailed information. Database, four applications, three what you call middleware, and some plugins, I'll say. Let us see what happens. plugin, and third-party tools. So if you give all this, what is going to happen is that it will generate the threat model using this model now, Gemini 1.5. So you can use whichever model you think is the latest one. You can pick up from here. There are different models are available. And depending on that, so here they are given 3 models. There could be hundreds of models you can pick up from any of this. So now it is trying to generate for this one. So this is how actually, yeah, so now this it has created. So this is the improvement suggestions, and this is how it is going to create your threat modeling for you. A tool which is used to create the threat model. Okay. Let me just take a screenshot of this so that I have it. Okay, I just wanted to show you this one. Give me a minute. So this is how it generates what you call threat modeling. Okay. So these are tools. So you can also try. I would say all of you after this session or whenever you get time, please try this tool. It's a wonderful tool which helps you to give a very good idea as to what is AI security and how to do threat modeling. And then, as I told you, this is a meta skill. Any other tool tomorrow you are going to use in your workplace is no big deal because you know how to basically know how to drive a car or how to use a threat, how to use a tool to do threat modeling. Okay, with that, I will stop the session. The next 25 minutes or so, feel free to ask your questions and I'm going to answer them. Anybody has any questions? No questions? So you can ask. Feel please don't feel conscious or anything. If you have any questions on the presentation or anything about AI security, anything you want to ask, feel free to ask. There is
Ram, very good afternoon. So thank you so much for the session because it uh, was so informative. First, I would like to thank you so much again.
thank you.
Uh, we have one quick question, Ram, for you. So
Yes,
you
yes, go ahead.
explained about Stride, right? So
Correct.
similar to Stride, do we have any other GPT which use this even My3
Oh,
framework as well for threat
yeah.
modeling?
Yeah, so there are this currently this Stride is the one which is open source and available and free to distribute. I recommend you go to IRIS Risk. I will just put it here in the chat so
Sure.
that you 1 minute. I'll just give what you should do is yeah, there is one company called IRIS Risk. I'll just give me a minute, okay? And there you can actually uh, just share my screen. Just opening that. Okay, now let me share the screen again. So in the screen here, I'm showing one company. Of course, I have nothing to do with this company, but now that you asked the question, see, there is something called as a company called as IRIS Risk. They have these tools available where you can do threat modeling free of cost. It is community edition is available. Okay, so your MITRE and all the other ones, you can use it here. So you can do a try now and you can use the product. There is a threat. Can you see this threat modeling tool on the screen?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just clipping. So if you go here and if you register here, it has all the threat modeling components and libraries and
Okay.
MITRE and all the things are available. And there is a freeware available. You can use that. It's a community edition. Of course, it has limitations. They also have a paid one. But for people who want to try all the different threat models which you want to try like Stride or all the other ones, Stride GPT, you can use this tool. The reason why
Okay.
I didn't show this first is I don't want to recommend any company. That's not the idea. But now that the question has come, I'm telling you, you can go and try this. They have a freeware edition called Community Model. You can go and register there, and then you can then generate those threat models. Okay?
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you,
Yeah,
Ram. Thank you so much.
no problem. Anybody else? Any other questions? Uh, um,
Hi,
Anybody
this
has
is,
any questions?
yeah, hi, this is Prashali.
Ah,
Will
yes,
you be
Vishal.
sharing this PPT?
Oh, yes, I will share it. I'll share it with Ram. once we are done with this, and then you can use that. Ram, you will be sharing to that, right? I don't want to share it directly. I'll leave it to you.
Yeah, I will do that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So definitely, Vrishali, I'll share that one. No issues with that. Okay. Okay. Anybody has any other questions?
Hello, sir. Am I
Hi.
audible?
Yeah, your voice is a little, this one, Ayan, can you be a little better? I'm not able to
Hello.
hear you.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, Ayan.
So basically, I was just a little bit curious about I had developed some models, and I was curious about like while generating some insights based on the data I have. So, is there any alternate way by which most of our clients are not ready to share their data
Hmm,
with the LLM because
very good.
they are
Yeah, yeah,
afraid
yes, yes,
eventually it would be public or somehow some
yes.
company will get it.
Yeah,
So
excellent
how
question,
could we
Ayan.
mask
Yeah,
that data to generate that
yeah, very
insight?
good. Wonderful. I'll just type for, if his voice was a little, I think, challenging, but I'll just type. His question was,
Sorry for
if,
that.
no, if data is not shared by customer, I'm just writing it here for everybody's, how do we manage threat modeling? Oh, sorry, it's not threat. Okay. How do you manage threat modeling? Good question. What you have to do is, Sayan, you have to do something called as generating synthetic data. You know, I showed you an example of synthetic data used for wrong purposes, right? I gave you the example of the Hong Kong thing. Now, if a company will not share that data, which is very, very valid, because let us say a bank, if the bank doesn't want to share the customer data because some data is PII, personally identifiable information, your Aadhaar or anything like that. So what you do is in your LLM, you'll have to train your LLM using something called as synthetic data. So there are tools which are used to generate synthetic data. What the synthetic data does is that how do you generate data using synthetic data? You have to do three things. You will do something called as data anonymization, or you have to do data encryption. So you have to use an encryption algorithm to encrypt the data and then train, but that is not going to help because after encryption, the data will not be visible. So you do something called as data anonymization or data pseudo anonymization. What is that? I'll give an example. Let us say employee name is Ram Mohan, salary is 100 rupees, staying in Bangalore. Now, employee name can be fine. Ram Mohan is fine. Salary 100 rupees, Bangalore, I don't want that data to be shared. The company doesn't want to give that data, but they say, why don't you generate a threat model? Why don't you generate machine learning algorithms to help us generate the prediction? So what I do, I use Ram Mohan as it is. Instead of 100, I will pseudo anonymize the data by making it 110. And instead of Bangalore, I pseudo anonymize the data and I will say Ramanagara or Mandya, something like that. So what I am essentially doing is I am changing the value, but I am not changing the value to the extent that the predictions can go wrong. So 100 to 110 is fine. But if I make the data from 100 to 600, then totally the prediction and the meaning of the machine learning goes for a toss. So there are tools for pseudo anonymization. It uses an algorithm internally. It will pick up nearby data so that the actual data is not shared, but the nearby data is not very far from the actual data so that the meaning or the predictions that come at the end is totally, see, for example, if I use Ram Mohan 100 in Bangalore, and if I use Ram Mohan 101, and instead of Bangalore, I say, let's say, what would I say? Instead of Bangalore, I say Devanahalli. So it's still nearby. I'll say North Bangalore or South Bangalore. It doesn't make sense because then somehow you are still able to figure out where that person is and what is his. So it should not be too far. It should not be exactly that. You should be in a range where your predictions don't go wrong. So tomorrow Ram Mohan wants a loan. Now, if you generate it with Devanahalli and the data is got to the machine learning will throw an answer. Devanahalli doesn't come in Bangalore limits. So therefore, Ram Mohan will not be eligible for the loan. Now, that's a serious problem because I have pseudo anonymized the data, but the entire inference or the whole use of the machine learning is going for a toss. It is denying me the loan, even though I'm eligible for a loan. Because what I have done so much of pseudo anonymization that the meaning of the data is totally lost. I have put it too far. So there are tools which can be used to anonymize and pseudo anonymize, which uses an algorithm. See, if you have thousands and lakhs of records, will somebody go manually do that in the bank data? Nobody can do that. It's impossible. So therefore, you do pseudo anonymization, you do anonymization, and then you actually generate synthetic data, and then you run the machine learning. But your success as a machine learning engineer, it depends on what is the range you can go, acceptable range. I told you the example, right? Devanalli should not tell that he's not eligible for the loan because the machine learning algorithm is only picking Bangalore. Ramon is eligible for 100 rupees salary. But because he's living in Devanalli, this bank will not give. That's not the true thing. He's actually in Bangalore, but we have to pseudo-anonymize it. So look for tools that are available in the market, which can, and you should suggest that to your customer. This is known as, I'm putting it in the here in the thing here, privacy engineering technology. These are all part of privacy engineering PET, we call it. So there is another area of IT security known as privacy engineering. If anybody is interested, I seriously recommend them to do this. It's a upcoming area, very niche area as part of AI security, which is actually only the people will be working on the privacy engineering algorithms, like what I told you, data anonymization, pseudo anonymization, synthetic data, data obfuscation. Obfuscation is some data is blanked out, only some data is available. For example, Rammohan, 100 Bangalore. Maybe Bangalore is still okay, Rammohan is still okay. Salary, no. So I will obfuscate that data totally. So if machine learning want to generate something, it can't use that 100 value. It has to use name and then location. But how much it is useful is something which you need to decide for your organization. Just by obfuscating the data, things will not solve. So this is, this is a delicate dance which you have to do. There is no one answer or there is no one way of doing things. Remember that. This is all a delicate dance. So delicate dance, you have, when you balance privacy, when you balance security, everything has a trade-off. So you have to decide what is your trade-off and to what extent, what areas you want to cover as part of your trade-offs. Okay. Good question I have. Anybody has any other question?
Hello, hi.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Like
Go ahead.
like we have a compliance for a different software like AI. Do we have any standardized compliance like HIPAA, etc.?
Very good question. Abdul, right? Yeah, wonderful. Yeah. So here is the thing. There is no one particular tool which takes care of all the compliance. And there are now tools that are coming in the market, which is known as unified compliance tools for GRC, governance, risk and compliance. So in the uniform compliance tool, all the compliances like HIPAA. Have you heard of this compliance called DORA? I'm just putting it here. Anybody? DORA. DORA is the new compliance that has come for all companies that are operating in Europe. DORA stands for Digital Operational Resilience Act. This act was passed in 2023 and it is already active. In fact, I did a workshop for Wipro very recently on this. So this DORA Act is all about compliance and regulation for financial companies in Europe. So to answer your question, Abdul, there is no one company, but nowadays companies are developing a unified compliance portal or a tool where all these compliances, HIPAA, PII, DORA, or any of the EU AI Act All these are part of that compliance tool. So what the tool does is, it will take all your data, it will generate those reports based on the compliance needs. And then you will have to take that data and then you will have to present it to the audit. But again, I'm telling you, these tools are all, remember one thing, HILT. I keep telling, right? HILT, human in the loop. I'm just giving, please check your chat. I'm putting all these terms. Human in the loop is a very, very important concept of any AI system. Whatever the AI throws, you should not take it at face value. You will have to do a human in the loop, do due diligence, and then add, delete, modify, and do that. So there is no one tool, but nowadays all the tools have all of them. You have to buy the license from them. You can ask, I need HIPAA, I need DORA. What is the cost for that? So there are companies which do GRC. Anybody else? Any other question? Yes, Satish. Go ahead. Please unmute and speak. I'm not able to hear you.
So adding to this, what we were discussing about the risk and compliance, there is one ISO series standard also, which is 31,000. So that is
Correct.
again a standard wherein we can maintain, mitigate, and study about.
Yes.
And this is again valid and
Yes,
recognized.
yes, Satish. And also there is one more you should look at, 42001. That is for AI specific systems. So 3100 plus 42001, if you have that in place, then for most of your AI systems, the general understanding, now this is not 100%, the general understanding is, if you have these captured as part of your ISO 42001 and 3100, most of the things that are required as part of your compliance can be taken quickly. I'm using the keyword quickly. So there are still work to be done, but at least you have some value, some things available already. Yeah.
Are they also planning to integrate these two standard
It
in
is
one
already.
single standard?
Yes, it is already there. Many of the GRC tools have already integrated that as part of their, you know what, Satish, they are using as the metadata. You know, this 3100 and 4200 will be the metadata, which will already be there. And then on top of that, you will generate this DORA compliance or HIPAA compliance on top of that. To answer your question, yes, emphatic, yes, they are also there. Because without these, you cannot do any of this, because that's a base. You should have some ISO done for your organization. Otherwise, it's a start from beginning, which is far more painful.
But thing is this, I mean, we are practicing multiple standard, like for 20,000, we are practicing ITSM also.
Yeah.
And similarly, information security. Again, we are addressing the requirement of risk and governance in the information security also. A bit of taste is 9001 is recently added. So it's a
Satish, this is
multiple
the,
approach.
yeah. See, I had faced so many compliance audits in IBM, so I know the frustration. See, unfortunately, what is happening is every organization are coming with their own standards. And actually, to be very honest, these organizations can come together and develop a common standard. But will they come together? They will not. Everybody has their agenda. Everybody has a standard. We have to somehow find a way. Now, we cannot be debating or fighting with these boards, the DORA board or the HIPAA board or the ISO board. The ISO board will not even entertain any questions on the other board. If you go and say, for example, I go and say, hey, the DORA board, I send a mail to them, guys, why are you asking us to reinvent the wheel again? Because
Yeah.
already in 4200, I have done a lot of activity. Do you think they'll reply? They will not even reply. If you want to work in UK, Europe, you have to follow DORA. And they say, I have 4200. Okay, good job, Satish. Now work on top of that. The change is only incremental. That is what the answers you will get. Unfortunately, if anybody who's working in GRC, they know this is this is a pain which everybody, hopefully one day they all come together and there is a common set of standards across the world. But that is too much of an ask. Do you think these guys will come together? They will not.
No, but one facility we have, that we can create one IMS, that is integrated management system, clubbing 2, 3, 4 standards.
That is what I told our unified compliance. It has that. So these tools which you buy, AI, GRC tools that are there in the market, they do this. But remember, they do only to an extent. You'll have to still do a lot of manual mapping. Maybe 80%, 70% these tools will do. Because I'm telling you, DORA has a unique requirement which your 4200 cannot directly map, or your 3100 cannot directly map. Then what are you going to do? You have to create new control items. And when you create new control items, the complication increases because the mapping has to be done. And when you do the mapping, there will be challenges in the mapping. And this auditor will say, no, this is not in that format which I'm looking for. So there are challenges. Yeah, good question, Satish. Yeah, good question. It's a good, thoughtful question. Yeah, I think it is for the industry and to really think. Yeah, my Sarala, please go ahead. Arun, if I got your name right. Yeah. Yeah, Arun, go ahead. Yes, yes. Whoever asks questions, please go ahead. Please unmute yourself and talk. Otherwise, I will not. Yeah, please unmute and speak.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Once we have the test cases after threat modeling, which tools you suggest to actually verify the threats to apply and need to be
Yeah.
taken care of?
Yeah. So what you have to do is your organization, wherever you are working, they will have those license tools. Now I showed you IRIS Risk, right? So these are the tools that will generate the reports for you. IRIS Risk is a community edition. You can try that. Your organization may have bought some threat modeling tools or licensed threat modeling tools. You should reach out to your organization, find out which threat modeling tool they are using for reporting and for generating that test cases, and you should use that. Otherwise, you can use the IRIS Risk, which is a community edition, or such any other products. I don't want to propagate any product, but because a question came, I'm saying I don't want to take names of products, but there are many such tools available in the market, which they give you a unified compliance tool and also threat modeling tools. So you'll have to find. So sometimes some organizations don't allow this. Open source. Like I showed you Stride GPT, right? Maybe in
Mhm.
your office laptop, you may not be allowed to even use open source also because some
Mhm.
virus may also go in. So it's
Right.
a call which you need to take. So I would say you reach out to your security team and ask them what is the threat modeling tool they are using, approved tools, and then you can probably use that.
Yeah.
Yeah, who else? Anybody has any questions? We have another 5 minutes, so you can ask if anybody has any further questions.
Sir,
Ishwar, go ahead, Ishwar.
what robust strategies and process can the organization implement to secure their API endpoints in a production level? For example,
Yeah.
if we create an use case in by endpoint and we deploy in our on-prem server,
Hmm.
and we can't increase the endpoints count, right? And we can't manage every use cases in single endpoint. For that,
Correct.
how in production level you are managing or many companies do?
Yeah.
Can you
So
explain?
what you have to do is, have you heard of API gateways? API gateways is one way to ensure that all these controls are incorporated as part of the design policy as a code. Have you heard of rate limiting and throttling? So you should give have you, anyone if you use ChatGPT, if you keep the session open for long and you have not used it, you'll have to re-log in because the session is gone. So that is rate limiting. So throttling is one way. Similarly, if you have a good API gateway installed for your APIs, you control a lot of settings, you control a lot of endpoints and a lot of security using API gateways. So I strongly recommend whenever you're using a lot of APIs or API first products, if your product has a lot of APIs, two things are very important. API design, API documentation, and API gateway. So somebody has to design the APIs properly. If the designer is not done, the security person is going to face a lot of headache. And then you have an API gateway, lot of configurations can be controlled, session bandwidth, everything can be controlled using an API gateway. And of course, other standard things like rate limiting, throttling, and of course, proper documentation and the design of the APIs have to be maintained. So one solution to ask, put in one question, one word, API gateways are the way to go. Otherwise, you'll have to manually do all these things. It's very time consuming. Any other questions? Okay, we have another 2 minutes. If you have any other questions, you can ask, and then we will sign off. Hopefully, you got a lot of information, and then I covered 360-degree of the entire AI security space. This is the time where people who are early entrants into this will have an edge. So that is a very important thing. So please share the feedback form is there. You guys go and share it. That will be really appreciated. And if you do not have any other questions, I'll still wait for a minute. If you do not have any other questions, then I think we are good to go. So any further questions here? I will share the slide with Rams again after this, and then you can reach out to him, and then he will share that with all of you. All right, have a great afternoon. Then
Sir?
we are done. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Sir, is there any free source of API gateway? No.
Free source. I see. I don't want to take name of the products. Can you go and do? There is something called as Kong, KONG. Just see if that is still available for you to use in free source. Okay. Kong is one API firewall and gateway they have. Just check out if they have, because I am really little wary of taking company names because you don't know whether that has been offered now or so. Just check it. But if you have IBM, you heard of Splunk, right? Splunk is a tool. Heard of that? Splunk has Splunk has a very good suite of products. Similarly, your Palo Alto networks have a very good suite of products. Zscaler has a lot of. I'm just taking names now. So they all have these. So free, I don't know which one. You can try Kong. If you find it free, you can try that one. KONG. Yeah. All
Which
right.
one your company is following, or many companies?
They use either this one, Palo Alto Networks. That's one of the best. They have their suite of offerings for API gateway, or even I think Splunk is also, Cisco also has it. So Palo Alto, I would suggest you can take a look at that website. They'll be happening those API gateways and all that. Zscaler is also there. It's picking up. See whether they have these offerings as part of that. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. All right, guys. It's been wonderful talking to all of you. Thank you very much. Have a great afternoon, and we'll drop off. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.